Okay, so now we're moving on to our first feature discussion, which we're calling Saturn Memories. As we said at the start of the show, it is November the 22nd, 2020, which means it's been 26 years to the day that the SEGA Saturn launched in Japan. Wow, how time flies. So we're going to take some time to look at some of our favourite Saturn memories from over the years. So starting with, it's an obvious one to really go for, we're going to start with our favourite games. We're going to have a quick chat about our favourite games. Scotty, would you like to tell us about your favourite Saturn game? Saturn
goddamn Bomberman. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Saturn Bomberman. I was a Bomberman fan before this, with Mega Bomberman on the Genesis, and I think I'd played Game Boy, like handheld versions. I never played any of the Super Bomberman games of Super Nintendo. But this one is insane. It has a 2-player co-op, which is really cool. But the big thing on the back, if you can see here, audio listeners, 1 to 10 players, uses the 6-player adapter. Which shit, I didn't grab that, but it's a square with 6 ports on it, controller ports on it. And so this game, Bomberman, in case anyone's doesn't know the gist of it, it's a top-down view. You are a terrorist. No, it's a top-down view, but you're a little cute guy that runs around in what looks like could be scuba gear or something, weird little helmet, and you just plant bombs. So it could really be a 2-button game, or just a 1-button game, honestly. But you plant the bomb, run away. It's on a grid-based thing, so your explosions go up, down, left, right. But yeah, this game has up to 10-player multiplayer. It makes the screen like zooms out. It looks bad when you have up to 10 playing it, but it's still fun. It's more of a smaller, manageable size when you have 8 players altogether. But you can do like just yourself against 7 AIs. You know, you could split up teams, have 2 versus 2 versus 2 versus 2, or 3v3, or 5-on-5, and whatever. But it's such a simple game, but it has a long enough campaign that it's fun. You can play it on your own. A lot of Bomberman games today don't even bother with like single player stuff. I say that, but they're not really released that often anymore, because it used to be by Hudson Soft, now owned by Konami. But yeah, it's just a really good default party game. And this one was not put on anything else. And unfortunately, it's one of the more expensive, what's not on the Saturn library. But it also had online play. I did actually play this online once, but it was unplayable.
What? Online?
You can... Yeah, you can see up near the logo, it says Netlink playable, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if the UK version had that. I've got one here.
Oh, of Saturn Bomberman? I'm not sure. But yeah, no, it's just, it's my favorite game because I can introduce it to anyone. It's very pick up and play. And I just really like what they did with it, adding certain weapons and abilities with your little buddy dinos that you ride around on. The campaign's funny and goofy. It was the first Bomberman to have an animated intro video, like an actual anime, that was really neat. So yeah, it's something I can play with everybody. It's the reason I own 2 of those multi-taps. And when Toys R Us was getting rid of their Saturn stuff, like controllers were like $5 each, so you can bet your boots I swooped in and grabbed a bunch of controllers for Bomberman.
Oh yeah, it's so I'm not a massive Bomberman fan. I enjoy them to an extent, but Saturn Bomberman is a game I genuinely loved back in the day. I thought the campaign mode was brilliant. The other thing I liked about it was with the deathmatch. If I'm not the best at Bomberman, but if you die during it, you then become like a little character who's like on this almost little cart thing around the side. You can fire bombs into the arena.
Right, you have like a cannon,
Yeah, like a little cannon thing, basically, that goes around the whole of the outside of the arena, and you can like just fire bombs. And I just thought that was so much fun, because then you're still part of the game. You can like screw up other people. You can try and help out a friend if you want to, or you accidentally kill them by mistake by trapping them in between 2 bombs or something.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and when the timer goes down to like the last minute, those all disappear. People that are dead but on the edge, they disappear, but then weights start to fall onto the level, and they gradually cover the outside so that you have a small enough area, or you can change it so that it eventually covers the entire screen. So it's a sudden death mode. And there is, and actually, I don't know if any other Bomberman Johnny Bomberman. Games have had this, but there's a separate adventure mode outside of the campaign mode, which is it's basically a survival mode where he's in like his orange gi, kind of looks like Goku, but he's just going through from floor to floor, and you get through this survival type mode that's only single player.
That was really cool. But the campaign sort of story mode, am I right in thinking that was 2-player?
Yep. You can play it single player, but it does have co-op.
Yeah, 'cause I remember playing that with a friend. We really got into that. Like, we were seriously enjoying that. So we played that for ages. I don't think we ever finished it, though. We might have done once, but we played through that for hours. And then we just go into the deathmatch mode, build some AI bots, and have a lot of fun, basically. It's so good.
Yeah, I would no joke, like in my middle school days when I had no friends, I would play this every morning before going to school. Like I would set up a series of 2 matches per level and just play through an hour before I had to go get the bus.
Nice. The only one thing I wish they had in it was like maybe a couple more of the 10-player arenas.
Yeah, there's only one.
Because there's only one. Because from memory, all the arenas are actually based on like they've got their own like theme, haven't they? From memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a factory that you can kick bombs, you have remote bombs, you can toss them. You have the dinosaurs that have different abilities like running fast or kicking a bomb or whatever, detonating them through the soft blocks that you can explode. But there are different levels where like the factory has arrows on the floor. So if you kick an arrow up at it and it's pointing left or right, it'll just it'll go in the direction. So you can really mess someone's day up. There's other levels where there's like trampolines you can jump on. There's a soccer field where if you kick a bomb into the goal, it explodes across the entire length of the map.
I didn't realize that.
Really, I don't recall really many other Bomberman games doing stuff based on the arena until you kind of got to Bomberman 64 with some of the deathmatch related stuff that they, like if you were in a water level, the water rose on sudden death and things like that. But Saturn Bomberman's so much fun. I actually have a couple medals winning tournaments in it as well.
Oh, nice.
If you guys can see those medals hanging up on the bookshelf up there.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
In PAX East, I won a tournament and then ended up going to PAX Prime over in the West. Not because of it. We already had plans, me and my buddy Anthony, to go to PAX Prime over in Seattle, but that was where the second, like another round of the tournament was going on. So I did not get first, but I got third, and it was still cool.
Oh, that's still
like
awesome.
Saturn Bomberman.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those games that is just genuinely they took an old idea and just made it better for the generation. It was just and I haven't really played the new ones that much, but from memory they weren't as much fun. I just think that's for me that's the pinnacle of Bomberman so far.
For me too, because the new ones, there's so many different items in it that it's not even a rock, paper, scissors thing anymore with getting the different items. It's just like if you get this certain thing, you're basically invincible. Right. I thought there were too many variables as they progressed, I thought.
Totally.
So
sorry. Chris, did you have any comments or questions or anything about that?
I mean, like, I like Bomberman. We played it during the 2018, 2019 Dreamcast Marathon as like
we did the Dreamcast one.
The cooldown for it. I'm not very good. My favorite Bomberman is Bomberman Tournament for the GBA, so I am very not multiplayer centric.
That's the one that has like Pokemon type aspects.
Yeah, it's dumb. I love it.
You would.
Have you played Saturn Bomberman at all?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I got introduced to Saturn Bomberman through Scotty.
Right, okay. Oh,
you're welcome.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought you were saying you played the Dreamcast version and then the GBA version. I didn't realize. Okay.
No. So, I mean, like, the Bomberman games, my first Bomberman game was actually Bomberman Hero. So I'm used to solo, single-player Bomberman-style games. Then I went to, like, Bomberman 64, Bomberman The Second Attack, Bomberman Tournament. I didn't know, like, I knew that Bomberman was like a competitive multiplayer game, but I didn't really experience that until we played over Scotty's house. So
okay, cool, brilliant,
yep,
nice. So for my one, this should be no surprise to any long-term fans of the old Sega Nerds website or Megavisions. Mine is, and I don't have the full box with me here because it's actually at my parents' house, but I've got the first disc in front of me, which is Panzer Dragoon Saga. Woo! To date, this is my favorite, not only my favorite RPG or my favorite Saturn game, it's my favorite game of all time. I absolutely love it. I did a retrospective of it in, was it issue 8 of Megavision's magazine?
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Sure.
I've still got
What?
6 issues of that sitting on my desk right now.
Excellent. Hopefully you've read each one of them. So
Yes.
6 times.
I broke them all in.
Brilliant. But yeah, for those who don't know, Panzer Dragoon Saga, it's based on the Panzer Dragoon series, which Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon Vi are part of, and there's one on the Game Gear as well. I can't remember what that was called now. Panzer Dragoon Mini. I think that was called. But those games are they're like on rails shooting games basically. So you're on the back of a dragon on rails. The dragon guides you around like a 3D environment. So you're firing, but you can fire in all directions. You can look behind yourself on the dragon, to the sides, to the front. So imagine Star Fox games, but being able to look all around you as you're doing it. But then Panzer Dragoon Saga was a full-blown RPG. So you're not only on rails, you can go on the back of your dragon, so you can fly around 3D environments, exploring things. Like you can sort of, you can basically it's almost like
open
you're flying
world.
Yeah, well, I'd say is it open world? Well,
It's
you're
not.
in a 3D open environment. So, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you can like in RPGs, you can sort of click on items and stuff to get more information about them. You can also go on foot or walk around, talk to people and stuff. But the main combat in the game is all done on the back of a dragon, and it's not exactly turn based as such, but it's almost time based. So the way it works is like over the course of time you build up energy, and depending on how much energy you have, you can use different types of attacks. But if you wait too long to perform an attack, your enemy might get in there before you, so you have a chance of getting hit or really badly hurt. But it's not just that. You can move, for most enemies, you can move all around the enemies, like in the environment. So you can choose your point of attack. And some enemies have weak spots, some enemies have areas where they won't attack you at all, so you can just rest there. And then some enemies will have like really dangerous points and stuff. And I'm not explaining it the best, to be honest. If you read our retrospective, it's really good. That explained it a bit better. But I just found that the combat is so unique, and it was so much fun. Like I genuinely enjoyed the combat throughout the game. So many RPGs, especially Japanese RPGs, I get tired of combat throughout them. But this one I loved throughout, from start to finish. I think the storyline is really good, because at the start it just feels like a standard quest of betrayal, like revenge almost. You at the very start of the game, the world is controlled by this empire effectively, and it's almost like a semi-post-apocalyptic world. That this old technology from the ancients is sort of still being used, but no one really knows about the ancients. But there's monsters out there and stuff, and people are sort of struggling to survive. But you're controlled by this empire, and this person called Kramen forms this rebel sort of alliance off from the empire, and they essentially come to this burial site that's like mine that you're working in. They kill your boss. They basically kill everybody there, because in the mine is this woman basically trapped in the mine, like in stone. She's like something from the ancient times, effectively. And you are killed as well. Like, well, you're shot and you fall off like this thing, and you basically land at the bottom of this like pool of water in this like cavern, and this dragon finds you, and basically you connect with the dragon, and you're alive. So you're like, I'm going to go and like seek revenge for the people who died, like my boss, who was like basically like a friend to me, like a dad to me. And also you've seen this woman and you're very interested. You want to see what the mystery is around her. But so yeah, the story sounds like just like a standard revenge story, but there's so much more to it as you progress. There's loads of twists and turns in it, and I just found it, at the time, I found it very cinematic. I mean, these days you're probably going to look at it and go, "That's the visuals of this are terrible," but I loved it, and I still will. I occasionally play it still today, and I think it's just such a great game. I can't speak enough about how unique this game is to me, and it's also the only game that actually I shed a tear to. Like, I got to the end of the game and genuinely was like, there's something that happens at the end of the game. It was just genuinely like, wow, that was an emotional roller coaster for me. So yeah, there you go. I don't know what else to say.
You forgot to mention how the dragon changes form in real time if you change your abilities.
Sure, yeah. There's a whole dragon morphing system as well within the game.
Interesting to me because I, as not a very avid RPG player, the presentation of it again is very much what captivated me and how you can change. I'll let you explain how that works, but I thought that was cool.
Oh, I think you're doing a better job than I am, to be honest. I'm stumbling over my words.
Oh, well, you can. I think there's 4 types, like agility, basically speed, strength, magic, and defense or something.
Yeah, defense. Yeah.
And it's literally a slider in a circle where you move the slider around and you watch the dragon change form in that menu, and then you go back to the battle, and that's what your dragon looks like now, and it changes its features. It's really cool to me.
But it's not just that as well. So yeah, that is one thing that's really cool. You can actually do that in real time effectively and be in the battle with your defenses higher and maybe your attacks a bit lower or something like that. But the more you play in certain styles, certain types of more defense or more attack, you unlock new abilities, and effectively your dragon will level up in different ways. So by the end of the game, I could play the game and Scotty could play the game. We could have almost completely different dragons by the end of the game. We could have different abilities and stuff. So it's really cool. You don't get different endings to the game, but the way you progress is just that little bit different. It made it very entertaining and just very fun, like just trying to find if you can unlock all the types of variations of dragons. I
guess sort of to cut you off, but at the same time to add to it, the first time I played it and finished it, like finished the game, watch credits roll, I go to the progress screen essentially, where it shows what items you've collected and everything like that, your progress in the game. I had finished the game, but it said like progress complete 66%. I was like, whoa, this is bigger than I thought, and I don't really understand RPGs, but I guess I gotta collect more stuff. But it's a combination of things in the game, so just to give you people an idea of how big it really is.
Yeah, there's tons of little secrets to find and little nuggets and stuff. And the other thing, I think at the time it was incredible to me because while it wasn't a proper open world, it did actually have very large 3D areas that you got to explore. This is limited by the Saturn's capabilities at the time, but you could fly like in full, like up and down, left and right, and just go around these environments, and it's just really cool. Especially the areas that had the water, or like the desert areas that had like sand and stuff, and like you see these sort of like sandworms and stuff jumping out of the ground and things like that. That was just really cool to watch at the time. I could talk about this game all day, to be honest. So I will shut up. There we go.
I have this game. I haven't played it yet. Like I played very
you watched
little.
Me play a decent chunk. I think
I did see you play it. I do want to play it. I just need to get my Saturn, hook it up to the rig, and I'm kind of just really waiting for the Polymega to fulfill that role because run better. I can download the games onto its hard drive. So like I'm looking towards that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well because the reason why my box is actually kept at my parents' house is because it's got the paper sort of slip, cardboard slip, and then you got the actual 2 DVD style boxes inside. But when I first used it, I used to take the game out and stuff, so my box started to wear out a little bit, and I was like, so now I've got it in like CD, either CD case or I have it in like these dual cases that I keep it in. So yeah, so when the Polymega comes around, if I ever get one, hopefully I will, I'll actually copy my games to the hard drive and then put these back in the box, hopefully forever, so they'll stay like nice and neat and tidy.
Plan.
Yeah, so there we go. But yeah, Chris, I recommend highly if you own it, you lucky son of a bitch, because I know not everyone could get their hands on it. I'm so thankful that I managed to get it.
We're what a couple of pieces of shit we are. Like it's one of the rarest games on the system. All 3 of us own it.
Oh dear!
Is it the rarest game on there?
It's one of the rarest.
Maybe one of the more sought after.
I'd
be interested because you're such a big RPG guy, Chris. I'd be interested to hear your opinions on it because a lot of things I'm sure it copies, but a lot of things it does different, and some things I wonder why other games don't do it just from a presentation standpoint.
Yeah, so. And for anyone who's not hugely into RPGs, like for example, some of the Final Fantasy games go on for like 1,000 hours or something ridiculous. This game is, I think, at the most it's like 20 odd hours or so. If you sort of play it from I think you can get done in like 16 hours if you just go through the story. So
Yeah,
I feel like
it's not super long.
Yeah, it's not super long, and I felt like I didn't waste much. I think my first run through, I was just trying to look for everything, and I did spend about 70 hours on it, but I was just like going back to areas and stuff for no reason almost. I just like, I'm going to go explore this area again and things like that. But
I will say to its success that it's something also with me in RPGs. I equate them to how I read books. Unless I'm captivated in the first novel, I cannot sit down with a good book. This game, in the first area, you will know whether or not it is for you because it walks you through the battle system. And if I remember correctly, the next area has some walking around bits, but like the main draw is, of course, the battle system, and like it introduces it well enough. And by the time you're at the first boss, I don't remember if you use berserk attacks or not, but you have an idea of whether or not you'll be able to handle this battle system and understand it to the point of enjoying it within the first world, I would say. So it progresses quicker in that manner than most RPGs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that was the other thing I liked about it. I was hooked almost instantly when I first played it. And I don't know if I've ever said this on the show before. I almost didn't own this game because I bought it and my original version did not work. So I bought it and basically played the cutscene, the opening footage, and then it gets to the point where it sort of says for you to enter your name, and you'd enter my name, and I press the button, and the screen would like fade out white like it should do, and it just stayed white. It's like just left with like a whoosh, sort of whooshing sound, just frozen. And I was like, oh, and I kept trying it and stuff, and my friend was at my house, like watching me going, this game doesn't seem to be working. I was like, oh, okay. And then I took it back to the game store. They didn't have any more copies in stock, but they had Sonic R on the shelf. Back to Sonic R. Here we go.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I'll just get Sonic R instead. That seems like a fun game.
What an upgrade.
Got Sonic R. Really enjoyed Sonic R. Thought it was great. And then a few months later, I think when the Saturn was basically stopped and they were sort of starting to get rid of games, they hadn't reduced the price of this game. I think it's still £40, but it's like essentially they had it in stock again. It's like, oh yeah, I almost bought this game because I didn't know anything about it. That was a weird thing. I hadn't even read anything about it. I just saw the back of the box and thought that looks interesting, and I picked it up, and it ended up being the best game I've ever played. So I'm so thankful that I sort of
Gave it a second chance.
and got it. Yeah, like oh my god, yeah, like thank you. Wow, man,
Shit's crazy, son.
It is. But there we go. So that is. Oh no, sorry, Anti-Chris. What is your favorite game? We haven't even mentioned yours. Sorry.
So I've got a few gems on the Saturn that I really, really enjoy. And I mean, like obviously a lot of them are fighting games. I'm going to try to contain that a bit because the game that is my favorite is a fighting game on the Saturn.
Cool.
Like I love Princess Crown. Princess Crown is a Vanillaware game, or was the progenitor to all the Vanillaware games. We got like Dragon's Crown, and we got Mirror Mouse of the Demon Blade, Odin Sphere. Games in that vein, and now 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is fantastic. Also Shining Force 3. I'm a big Shining Force fan.
Oh yeah.
I love what's Dragon Force. I love Shining Wisdom. Those games are just very, very good. And usually anything that is published or localized by Working Designs usually proves to be worth your time. But as far as fighting games are concerned, like the Saturn is a fighting game machine. Like in some cases, especially with the case of Street Fighter 03, it's the best version that you can get, even compared to the Dreamcast. And so my favorite game is on the Saturn is Street Fighter 03. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of that. I'm in the middle of getting one. I have 02 in my collection right now. Just between the characters, the way that the game looks, it's the closest thing to Third Strike without it being Third Strike. And Third Strike is my favorite Street Fighter. 03 is my second favorite. There's a lot of similarities that they have, but between like just the way that the game looks and the music that's in there, the isms in the way that the combat system works, whether you can do like Street Fighter Turbo 2 style of gameplay, you can do V-ism, which is kind of like a variant between the two, and then you have X-ism, which is more of a high risk, high rewards type of gameplay where you can't do air combos and you can't do certain supers, but it's all like a hyper aggressive gameplay. There's a lot of there's a lot of choice and a lot of customization that you have with Street Fighter 03. Unfortunately, 03 in the States it's called Alpha 3, but 03.
Okay.
Yeah, now you guys probably know what it is. 03 was not released in the United States. It was a Japan exclusive for the Saturn. We got it on PlayStation. I think we might have also gotten it on Dreamcast.
Yeah, it's on Dreamcast as well.
But with the Saturn, with the game taking advantage of the 4 megabyte RAM cart, it just runs 100 times better. It runs, it looks, it sounds 100 times better. So if you get the chance, especially if you have the cart that goes along with it, get Street Fighter 03. It's gonna run you $100 and something, but it's still worth it, in my opinion.
So just to clarify, Street Fighter Alpha 3 is the same as Street Fighter 03?
So the Alpha series in the US is the 0 series in Japan.
Right, okay.
Us dumb Americans couldn't figure out what 03 meant.
Okay. For some reason I thought this was released in the UK on the Saturn, but yeah, I'm just looking it up and it wasn't either. That's really annoying.
Got to get that action replay, that 4 meg, that's essentially the expansion pack for the Saturn to play certain games and import games. So
I have that.
I gotta get one of those that has a mod chip in there because I want to play scenario 2 and 3 of Shining Force, and those are Japan only as well. So I don't know enough Weeb to understand what's being said to me.
Have you ever used? I shouldn't be saying this really, I guess, but let's talk about it. Have you ever used like SSF or any Saturn emulators at all?
No.
Okay, because there is a mod for SFF that you could basically play those games, but with the English translation. Because I own all the Shining Force 3 scenarios. I didn't finish 2 and 3, but I started playing them, but with the English text on, which is really handy. But the way I did that was
offline about that.
Okay. This was years ago. I probably can't even remember, but it's a thing, and I've definitely done it. So
I know it's a thing. I've seen it, so I'm very interested in playing those.
We're all over the board with our choices there.
Oh yeah, that's quite interesting. We're not all Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is disappointing, but also fascinating. Great to see.
Honey, I gotta tell you about this sandwich.